at your fingertips isn't just a phrase anymore. It quite literally means that where we now have access to a lot of things at just a click of a button. As shoppers, we are spoiled for choice and channels, making the job that much harder for every brand and retailer to grab our attention and earn our money. This expanded choice landscape has shifted consumer expectations, resulting in a new type of modern buyer, one that is more aware and knowledgeable of their purchases, one that expects to be satisfied with not just their purchases, but also with their entire shopping journeys, and also one that is willing to pay more for a better experience. Recently, the Temkin Group published a study and found that companies that earn $1 billion annually can expect to earn, on average, an additional $700 million within 3 years of investing in customer experience. Well, with that number, let me welcome you all to Retail ME's virtual roundtable. Let's talk shop, retail CX learnings from 2020 and trends for 2021. And to discuss just that, we have on the panel today Tawfiq Kraidi, who is the CEO of Brandspoles, Shehbaz Sheikh, Chief Retail Officer at Red Tag, Ashutosh Chakradeo, Head of Retail at Choitram, Hridesh Metwani, Head of Marketing at Pan Emirates Home Furnishings, and of course, our moderator for the day is Sanjay Kumar, Head of Field Marketing, Middle East and Africa at Freshworks. Special shout out to our partners, our webinar partners for the day, Freshworks, who are making this event possible for all of us. Great. Thanks so much once again for joining us here. Over to you now, Sanjay.
Thanks, Shruti. Thanks for that great context setting, and thanks for the intro. Even though we had a pandemic last year, right? Nothing has changed in terms of customer expectations. In fact, customer expectation actually has increased, right? So 63% of the respondents basically have seen a rise in customer expectation. And this is a number which is the most important. And this is a number which is which is what is changing the whole scenario of how things are moving. And along with this, what we have also seen is that 75% have seen the kind of increase in volumes in terms of customer support, and a lot of new channels getting added. For example, social, website, chat. These channels are getting added as a mode of communication with a brand, right? So this is a very important stat for us to kind of look at, and I'm sure we'll kind of dwell a little more deeper into it when we go ahead with a further conversation. Second insight that we have here is 56% of customer service leaders have seen an increase in budget. I think which the last stat that I have here is, and I think this is more relevant to current times, and I think this will be the segue and something for organizations to kind of keep up with, is 65% of respondents or service leaders, feel that organizations have to be more agile and nimble, right? And this is the most important point because the kind of transition that we have seen from last year, and all the companies which were able to kind of make that transition, move from traditional ways of doing business and were more agile and able to adapt, I think have made significant impact to their business, and I have been able to kind of deliver the expectation or the experiences which customers expect, right? So I think with these 3 points, I think we have a pretty good understanding of what we have seen as in the few trends which are shaping or would shape up the way 2021 would go, and even years after that. So with this, I think we can get into the panel discussion, and it will be interesting to kind of hear from all the esteemed panelists that we have on their views and perspective about how or what have they seen in their respective businesses and in their respective roles. So Ashutosh, just from whatever we have spoken so far, right, we definitely have understood that customer behavior is changing, customer expectations are increasing, but I would definitely like to understand, right, how has customer behavior changed in supermarket and grocery segment that you are in since 2020? And do you think this is a temporary change, or you expect this to kind of accelerate moving forward?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks Images for having me part of this panel discussion today. Sanjay, on the earlier poll that you did, if you had not given the option of all of the above, I think digitalization would have still won hands down.
Yeah,
One
sure.
big change that has brought around, COVID has brought around across industries. Customer expectations and customer service was always a priority. So if you had asked this question pre-COVID, then maybe customer expectations and customer service would have got a higher rating. But just the last 1 year has shifted everything in favor of digitalization. So talking about customer behavior from a food and grocery perspective, I think what we saw during the pandemic, after the pandemic, and now a year after the pandemic started. So, somewhere around last year in February and March is when we started seeing the first impact of pandemic into our day-to-day life and our businesses. So if I have to talk about the first initial impact, of course, from a grocery perspective, we had huge number of customers coming into our stores. So at that time, the two most noticeable factors were that the frequency of customers had reduced, and the what we call as the average transaction value, that is the value that a customer buys every time he visits the store, had significantly increased. Now, that was driven by two factors. One, because the customers wanted to visit external points infrequently, and also where there were restrictions put in forth regards to movement. As the pandemic impact kind of started going down, we saw a little bit of that normalization coming in, where the frequency of the customers again started coming back and the average transaction value started going down. But did it go down to the pre-pandemic levels? The answer is still a no. So currently also we see, so if I have to compare the average transaction values to that in 2019, which was the pre-pandemic scenario, they still remain high. So from a customer behavior perspective, from a shopping perspective, what we are noticing that they are still preferring to buy more every time they visit. The number of visits have not reduced as much as they had during the pandemic and the post-pandemic scenario, which we see from September 2020 onwards. On the habits side, what we are definitely seeing that the customers are now wanting to have a much more safer environment than they would have expected previously. I think that's not just specific to the supermarket segment. I'm sure in the other industries as well, they are expecting the same. And health and hygiene as a category is still a focus area for customers. With reduction in socializing, reduction in parties, schools still not fully open, we are seeing some different behaviors, offices, people still working from home. We are seeing different behaviors in certain categories which are directly linked to these kind of experiences. So its food to go section is still not performing as well as it would have been in a pre-pandemic scenario, because a lot of our customers were the office going customers. Cakes and confectionery, and snacks maybe, which are directly related to partying and socializing, have not seen that kind of an uptake still. So these are some of the category related customer behavior changes that we are observing in the pre and the post pandemic scenario right now.
Sure, Ashutosh. Thanks for those inputs. I think these are pretty valuable inputs, and I think this is something that we are also seeing around us, right? Because the way grocery has picked up, I mean, as you rightly said, the transaction values have gone up, the number of transactions has definitely gone up, and just because it is part of the essential services, right? So the way groceries have picked up is definitely has put a huge, I think, burden on the brands, and in a way has benefited the brand, right? So I think pandemic has done good or bad, but I think groceries definitely has been impacted in a positive way. And I'm sure with that positive impact, you definitely have your own challenges also coming in, right? So thanks for those inputs. Now, moving on, so I think I would like to quickly touch upon how things have been impacted at brands. So Tawfiq, just to kind of get your views, especially with your brand, right? Where consumers, when we know the consumers are being more value and purpose driven today, uh, and I think with the kind of business model that you have, and also when pandemic hit, the whole debate between um, essential services and something which is not very essential, right? So I'm sure it would have had a huge impact on your business. So how did you, or what have your operations or sales, or how did it that impact in terms of operations and sales for Brands for Less?
Thank you for inviting me for this panel. Just let me start with with our experience, what happened and what we have faced during the COVID period. Of course, the COVID period, it was a different times whereby, at the beginning, everyone was locked home, everything was closed, stores were closed. It's totally different than the supermarket business. The sales went down to zero, except the online portal that really helped us at that time in terms of cash flow. Our basic and main priority at that time was to maintain our people and keep the people and take care of our employees. We are so proud that we did not lay off even one employee during the whole pandemic. Now, coming out in one piece from this is an achievement for every single person who's in business to start with, because we had to adapt to a new reality in terms of working from home, in terms of no cash flow is coming, in terms of maintaining your people, your payroll, which is the most valuable asset is the people that you have at the end of the day, So at the beginning, it was extremely difficult, but, with all of these, there was the silver lining. And the silver lining, like everyone have noticed, is the people we have fast forwarded our efforts by force. And we were able to really fast forward efforts and work that would have taken us 5 or 6 years. And everything was made so fast in 6 months, going and investing in the online platform and investing in the fulfillment center. Give you an example, like in the month of April, when everyone was at home and no one was even trying to spend 1 dirham and keeping the cash, we found it as an opportunity. And we are extremely opportunistic. That's how we buy our product. That's how we conduct business. We bought a big fulfillment center in Jabal Ali of 27,000 square meters. And we got it for like half of the price because people were desperate at that time. And so it worked to our favor. Today, this fulfillment center, it's fully, it will be fully operational, and the opening will be in May 15. So, even the hard times, you have to look at the silver lining. What we have done is we upgraded. The online business was only, before the pandemic, was only 8% of our business. Today, it's 27% of our turnover. Of course, creating the safety, the security, this is part of the difficulties that we had to face with the pandemic. But today, when I look into things, first of all, the behavior, if we want to go to answer your question in terms of the behavior of the customer. Today, the behavior of the customer has changed in 2 ways. He is more, the habits that they have, they are more cost conscious. They want to squeeze more cents out of a dollar. They want to get the deal. And, by nature, we are human beings. We are hunters. And, this is the treasure hunt experience that we give to our clients. When they walk in and they have this catch and they come out victorious carrying this brand that he paid for it like 20% of the original price, he's so happy. And it makes him come tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So this excitement of the treasure hunt that we create, and that really people, this is why we were able to grow so fast, because people really love this treasure hunt experience. So what I see now, we are extremely positive. We were able to open 11 big stores during 2020, which is the pandemic year. Now we have another 14 stores under construction. Now we are extremely positive, because we know one thing is going to happen: revenge shopping, revenge traveling, revenge spending. Now is the time to really enjoy the fruits. of all what happened. So, and you know, at the end of the day, digital. This is the future. If we are able, brick and mortar people, to really bring our online platform to really be able to generate 50% of our revenue, we'll be on the right track. This is a dream. We try to accomplish it, and I think the gentleman at Red Tag, he agrees with me here on this. You know, it's a dream. You know, at the end of the day. Now, the customer service here, there's a big difference, and here is the shift. You know, for things that we are not used to. We are retailers, brick and mortar people. We used to bring people, we used to train them how to talk to the customer and just put them in the stores. Today, you know, the customer service, the whole idea of the customer service has changed because your customer has changed. His habits have changed. You know, he's not coming to your store. You're going to his home. You know, you have to know when to call him. How long should be your call? You know, when he's there, he already dedicated his time to come and do this transaction, and he's ready. All his time is dedicated for you. But once you're selling him at home, you follow him at home, you offer him the product at home, you do the sales, you do the after sales service. You know, it's totally different criteria, and we're learning, and we'll keep on learning.
Great, Tawfiq. I mean, I can see the kind of passion that you're speaking with, right? So it definitely talks about the way you have looked at this pandemic, and there are a few important points which you kind of highlighted, which is like you always basically look at the silver lining to this whole situation, right? And I'm sure you have made those, as you said, being opportunistic, and then you basically have to look at things that way, right? So you have made wherever opportunity kind of knocked on your door, so you have taken, I mean, basically used that. And how did you take care of the employees? That's something which again was an important point, because in the recent survey that we also did, we kind of understood that this is one of the bigger challenges that organizations are facing, where they have been forced to kind of work with reduced staff. And how do they kind of overcome this with help of technologies or the way to kind of optimize on the processes, the whole restructuring? But this definitely has been a big challenge. I'm sure you also spoke about that. And the last piece, which is definitely something which I am also seeing as a consumer, which is revenge shopping, right? So that's definitely happening, and I'm sure that will pick up. And I think you're ready for that. So yeah, thanks for sharing those inputs. And as you rightly picked up, Shahbaz also on this, I would definitely like to kind of move from here to Shahbaz to kind of understand how he's seen things kind of at Red Tag in terms of digital adoption in the year of pandemic. And do you think, Shahbaz, that this is just something which is happened because of pandemic, or this is going to continue even after lockdown? So yeah, what are your views on this, Shahbaz?
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Images, for giving me this opportunity. Good afternoon, everybody who's listening to us and watching us. Well, my name is Shahbaz. A quick introduction. I'm the Chief Retail Officer here at Red Tag. We have more than 200 stores in the GCC and beyond. We are a fashion and homeware brand, 15-year-old brand born in the Middle East for the Middle Eastern people. All right, back to your question. The events of last year have certainly changed everyone's outlook in life. In general, customers are putting a lot more emphasis on value. I believe Tawfiq will agree with me. And the increased focus on value means a brand has to deliver multifold positives. So it's not one, it's multifold positives. At the most basic level, what do we need to do? We need to be competitive in pricing. Tawfiq does it with brands. We do it with our in-house, like label, which is Red Tag. So we need to be competitive with pricing, give great quality, uniqueness of your product. You need to have a USP for sure, and overall the services that you need to offer. But now, over and above this, we need to gear up and also deliver an emotionally uplifting and a memorable shopping experience, where the customer feels, that the brand is truly going above and beyond the customer expectations. Because the way things are today, obviously, the customer has a lot of choices, and you need to truly make them believe that we are over and above their expectations. Another big trend we see, for sure, everybody has voiced that, the poll has said it, that the physical footprints are going down and the digital interactions are increasing for sure. Early days for us being a fashion retail, customer steps in the store, tries the apparel before they make the purchase. But today, post 2020, we have seen a big shift on digital and a big shift on in online transactions. Having said that, the future of retail is not only on a one channel service that we can offer. We have to create omni channel strategies wherever possible to increase customer interaction and the brand loyalty. Loyalty is very important. If customer doesn't feel loyal, obviously, again, like I said, they've got a lot of options and a lot of players to go to. This means services like what we've started, for example, easy returns, anytime, anywhere exchange, building trust with the customer, faster delivery times, free home delivery, for example, personalized shopping that we have in Red Tag, personalized gifting for our loyalty customers. We have to really take all these extra services, multifold positives, and bring them on center stage to give a completely full rounded customer experience, and that's what we are aspiring to, and we are trying to achieve at Red Tag.
Thanks, Shabazz. I think, I think one of the biggest key takeaways that I would take from you, I think everybody agrees that it is all about digital transformation, but as you rightly, kind of pointed out, that it is also about looking at multiple channels. It is not about just sticking to one single channel, because expectations are definitely changing. And as a brand, we have to ensure that we are present where the customers are, right? And that brings in this whole concept of multi-channel, or I would say omni-channel presence. So yeah, thank you for bringing that point up. Now, I think just to kind of move to the last piece of this whole section, I would like to take inputs, from Ridesh on, Emirates, as to, because we have seen this new segment, where earlier it was non-home was not even a segment, right? When we look at home furnishing, now this whole thing of home versus non-home actually has evolved so much in home furnishing as a function. Now, how is that in terms of trend, and what do you feel about that, Ridesh? Do you see that trend kind of expected to grow, or it is only during the pandemic where you see that right now?
We are talking about pandemic is such a situation where everybody is trying to cope up with the scenario where everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be experienced, and everybody wants to not let their revenue share lose. The biggest challenge here has been that there has been a dynamic shift in the lifestyle of people. People who used to be used to go out, and they used to have all their leisure time actually in shopping in the malls. Now they have been restricted behind four walls and then sitting at home all the time, have nothing to do but spend time within the home and themselves and with their surrounding. It increased even more frustration when offices started doing work from home. Now, today, when we look at the situation, still there are a couple of countries which are though looking out to the situation in a very optimistic manner, including China and India, which they have eased up lockdown, and more than 80% of the public is out of home now. But there are a lot of countries who are not really comfortable as yet, and Europe seems to be in deep, bad shape at the moment, including Indonesia and Japan are such of the countries who are not so flexible at the moment in letting people go out. Now, such of the case has been not just from today, but then it has been a year now, and people, I think, have got used to it, this situation. They are not enjoying, but then they have no other choice. So looking at that part, I think household has been the biggest, up phase in front for you to modify and then work around. People have more disposable time at home to look around their things, and then they are trying to work around within the home to beautify it, make their experience more enjoyable while they are sitting at home and then tied around within the accessible things. We have seen a big surge in the demand of our furniture and household items. People are more looking into, decorating their home, making more inspirations, beautifying their home and making it feel like enjoyable, because they know that they cannot go out. they cannot spend much time. Their main concern is the safety. So I think the couple of industries which saw surge, and furniture was one of them. And I think it turned out to be a blessing in disguise for the business setup like us, who could sell a lot of furniture which we're not even expecting. But yeah, thankfully there was a huge growth. We saw almost around 30% of growth in our sales compared to 2019. So we see that there is a huge demand. People are spending a lot for their household. Now, with this such kind of situation, what has happened, not only the furniture category and groceries have seen the benefits, but there have been a lot of other industries who are trying to reach out to home. So people, if they are not going to the store, I think the brands are trying to reach out to the customers through various means of digital advertising, through various means of automations. They're trying to understand and reach out to customers and then tell them, hey, we are there and then we are here to help you. So everybody is trying to reach out, and there have been some basic rules which have been broken. I think the policies have been very much eased out. There are a lot of offers now and then that you see, even though we are in UAE, which is a very much promotion driven market, but I think the promotions now are happening all across with every brand and within every industry. There are people or the brands who are reaching out with different kind of easing out, like cash on delivery has been one of the aspect that people have given up to customers so that they can buy and probably pay at the time when they are receiving the delivery. There have been even extents where people are giving free trials before they decide. Industry like us, where there is a high involvement in buying the products, people are not so comfortable shelling out online. So what is the next step? Probably next step is to probably give them a free trial, let them be 100% happy with the customer, with the offering and then the products that you're offering them, and let them give the flexibility of buying whatever they feel like. And if they don't like, then we are happy to get them back. So this is the situation which is happening. There are a lot of norms which have been broken. People and businesses are trying to be more helpful, trying to give more better experience to customers so that they can look up to them, rely on them, and in the time of need, they are on their top of the mind. So this is something that is happening, and yes, true, this trend is going to continue. Experts do believe that this kind of situation is going to exist for another 2 years. But if you are not too optimistic, at least you can see for another 5 years, this kind of behavior will continue. And brands will continue to be more, integrated in approaching customers, working out omnichannel marketing strategy, where their experience is seamless, and they will be having more, instead of brick and mortar, it will be click and mortar. And they have been trying to, work out that kind of model for their business, where people can buy online and then probably collect from their store, or even they can get the delivery at home without even paying. And once they receive the delivery, they are happy with it, they pay for that, or probably do the trial, and then after that they pay. So there are these norms which are going to be very much in place for the longer run, and these are not just the adjustment, but then now these are the new normals that I think businesses are adapting. And brands who have seen this opportunity, they will continue to surge and they will continue to grow. And brands who are not probably keeping up with the time, they will definitely lose their share. So this is the new trend, and it is going to continue. But with an end note, I would be ending with a very positive thing. I think we all are humans who are constantly looking for a change. We believe in upgrading ourselves from the current situation where we are. And I feel that probably over a period of time, this situation will be again fading out once the scare of COVID is less, and then people are more confident in going out. We cannot negate the fact that people want to experience, they want to touch and feel and try on them, and then they buy. No matter what you do in terms of a lot of technological advancements you want to do to give them a seamless experience. But you cannot replace the physical experience of a particular product, replace the experience when you are stepping into a store and then buying. So I'm still positive that probably over a couple of years period of time, people will be back to their normal life. They'll be again outgoing, but there is a long wait for that.
Sure, Desha. Thanks a lot for your views. I think there were a few points which definitely caught my attention, and as rightly said, we are definitely moving from big brick and mortar to click and mortar, and that is definitely something which we'll discuss further in details. And I think all of us would definitely relate to that, right? So thanks a lot for your views.